Look, I know what I said, but I kind of want to talk about that because when you give someone your word, you're giving them a promise. In so many ways, you're signing a verbal contract. You're telling them to honor and to remember that you will be there or you will commit to whatever it is you're talking about. And there are circumstances in life that are inevitable, things that we have no control over. And when those things occur, it's almost as if that promise, that word, is somehow isolated in the sense of you didn't honor your promise. You liar! You deceiver! You told me you would do this. And there's also just a change in mind. That's why a lot of us really take uh, passion and we take promises seriously. We take words seriously because they mean something. But what also happens in life is that sometimes you might say you won't do something. And you're like, I said it. And I said it probably because I was in a whole different space. Or maybe I didn't understand what I was saying. And lately I've been looking back at just kind of the things I've said. And I never want to be a person to always have this sense of affirmation that's firm and constant because things change. I can look back at previous choices I made and I can understand why I made those choices. And this kind of gets into psychology. You can think of your childhood and just the different events that led you to where you are. So sometimes you change your mind. And it's not always about, I'm changing my mind. It's sometimes just about, I don't know, I just don't believe that anymore. I don't see it that way anymore. And here's why I don't see it anymore. I think it's still important to give someone enough time. If you commit to like a project and, or a meeting, being somewhere at the same time, that's important. I'm not encouraging anyone to be late for your appointment because you just don't feel like going. There's a sense of responsibility involved when you give someone your time. When you tell somebody, I'll be here, then you should be there. But there are times where things are said and what's been said is not truly felt or understood the same time it was said. Like it just happens. You may say that you want to do something and then you say, you know what? No, I don't want to do that. I've been working on that. I've talked about this before. Abiding by the principle of yielding. Giving in when you're really like, but do I have to? I'm starting to ask myself more questions before I commit because people take words seriously. I take words seriously. So before I'm going to go ahead and say something, I'm going to ask myself, do I want to do this? Do you really want to do this? It's okay to not want to be able to do it. And you don't have to explain that. A lot of people want explanation. But why? Well, I just don't want to. I don't have any other explanation. I don't know what will suffice outside of the fact that I'm not interested. And there's a way of saying it too. Tonality has a lot to do with it as well. And this can go, all over the place. But I just think of, I know what I said. I said it at this time. When I said it, I was looking at it in this instant. So here's how I'm going to wrap this up. In order for conversation to truly thrive, there must be an understanding of inevitable changes that occur within the mind, the heart, the will. No one really often speaks of the will, the want, the passion. I want those things change. And it's kind of difficult to understand how those things change. And I don't think it's our business to really discover. When someone says they don't want to do something, we don't have to be like, well, they saying that because it ain't none of your business really. Because if you're talking to someone and if you're establishing conversation, you should have this establishment understanding that inevitable things occur. About trustworthiness, is that an important quality that you're neglecting? No. Because I think trust has to do with repetition. The more and more someone says, I'm going to do something, and they are unreliable, unreliability is understood through the constant, consistent, consecutive broken promises. And the more someone breaks these promises, the more we realize through our determination that they're not trustworthy. And I'm not telling anyone to understand why someone is not trustworthy. I think not being reliable is a problem that needs to be fixed, because no one likes talking to someone who tells them they're going to come in and they never come at all. That's totally different. I'm just saying that conversations should be truly realized with understanding. Just simply telling that person that you couldn't do it doesn't mean you got to explain why, because there are personal reasons, there are private reasons. I've been finding out more and more in my own growth that I don't need to explain myself, because it doesn't really have anything to do with the other person. And the more and more you talk to people, you kind of understand what ways someone can say something to you. It becomes better to process commitment. All of that changes with every person, because we all have individual ways of communicating. We all don't communicate the same way. And I think when you find out the way someone communicates, you can communicate to them in the way that it's both agreeable to you and for them, so that y'all not saying two different things. So that's what this video is about. I know what I said, but things change. Thanks for watching.